Hello guys, Dan here, welcome back to the channel. In today's very short video, I will show you how to paint Asuras Hacker using the contrast paints. And as well as you can see here, I did some experiment on the marble base. If you are interested how I did it, I will make a video. Actually, I already did it, I just need to edit it, and I will publish it in the next few days. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so you don't miss it when I do. So without further ado, let's start paint this beautiful model. I primed the model with the Wraithbone spray because I will use a lot of contrast paints and I want them to be brighter in their tones. First color for today will be Apothecary White, and I will use this color for her jumpsuit. I will use it straight from the bottle, and I have to empathize here that whenever you work with contrast paints, use your old brushes. Because I don't know what are ingredients inside the contrast paints, but they are destroying my brushes over the time. Since now I'm using them constantly for over the year, I think they already ate 2 or 3 of my brushes. Second contrast paint that we will use today will be a Magos purple, and I use this color only to paint her hair and the LEDs on her belly. But at this moment I'm actually not happy how this color look like, because it's too pinkish and I wanted her hair to be a little darker. So I will repaint this later, and I will just leave this as my base color for the reference how to do the shades later and the highlights. For all the black details and accessories and the weapon, I will use black Templar contrast paint. I will apply this in 2 very thick coats over the weapon, but only 1 thick coat over her boots and her armors on the legs and on the arms as well. Just be very careful when you're applying this paint when you go close to her jumpsuit, the white parts, because it will be a mess to clean up later. So just try to be really precise, use the tip of your brush, and don't allow this paint to pull a lot. For this little console that she's standing on, I will use Basilicanum Grey, and I will paint this with 1 very thick coat and straight from the bottle, so I won't add anything to this paint. So I will soak my brush like really good and then just cover everything. For her right shoulder, I use the Iyanden Yellow. It's another contrast paint, and I apply this in 1 very thick coat. Just be careful here not to go over the black or the white parts that we already painted, because it will create some very weird and some ugly stains. After all contrast paints are dried properly, we will start highlighting this model. First thing, I will do her jumpsuit, and I will use Ulthuan Grey. I will put this color on my wet palette, add few drops of water to it so it flows better, because it tends to be really chalky. And now I will go over the previous color. I will try to repaint almost like 80 to 90% of the previous colors. But I will leave all the recesses intact and all the shadows and all the areas under her legs that are in the shadows. I will do 1 very light coat over it, while over the other areas I will do 2 and sometimes 3 very thin coats, so I can get the level of the tones and the brightness that I actually want, just to see the highlight properly. final highlight, we will use pure white. And to be honest, I prefer Vallejo white than any other manufacturers at this moment. And we will highlight the most raised areas of her jumpsuit, and then the areas on her knees, and everything that's like really raised and most exposed by the light. And this will be a very small highlight, like two very thin lines. And as well, focus on her face by highlighting her nose, her cheeks, the forehead. Now it's time to repaint her hair. I will use Pink Horror as my base color. Use this as well to repaint these LEDs that she have on her belly, but mostly I'll be focused with this paint on her hair, and I will repaint 99% of her hair. I will leave only the wash that went into the recesses, so I will leave it dark there, and I will use this paint as well to paint the eyes now. So take a very little paint on the tip of your brush and just paint the eye sockets. They're actually sculpted really well, so this was like really easy to paint. And for the final highlight, I will use Fulgrim Pink. So I will apply this on the hair just as a very thin edge highlight. So just go over every single thread of her hair and just apply this as a little line highlight. And use this color as well to paint the lights on her LEDs on the stomach. Before I start to highlight the black details, I will pick up a black color and I will just repaint the parts that I missed, like these threads on her hair. And then if you see that something on her body armor or the gun was not painted properly with the contrast paint, you can just repaint it with this, and then we will proceed to highlight. I will start first with highlighting her gun. I will use a Fenrisian Grey, and I will apply this as an edge highlight. So I will take very little paint on my brush, and then I will go towards the texture of the gun, and I will try to make an angle between like 45 degrees to 90 degrees with the surface, and use the side of my brush and just pull it very lightly couple of times until I get perfect lines to highlight this. On the areas that you cannot use the side of your brush, you just use the tip of your brush with very little paint on it. And to finish off her armor, I will use Administartum Grey, and I will continue doing the edge highlight. So I will apply the same principles as I did while I was highlighting her gun. So using the side of my brush whenever I can, where is not possible, I will use the tip of my brush with very little paint, and I will highlight all these little edges on these armor panels that she have all around her body. there is a few more details left to be done. So we will use Yriel Yellow to highlight her shoulder pad, and as well she have like some decorative strap on her legs as well. So I will use this color and paint a very thin line just next to the armor panel that separates the armor panel with her jumpsuit. And lastly, there is a few LEDs on this console that she's standing on. So I will repaint these lights with a light sea blue and just add one dot of white paint in the middle just to create a reflection of the light. And I will use also white to highlight a few edges of this console that she's standing on, but nothing too much and nothing too drastically, just one little detail, because we don't want attention to go away from our model to the console, so we just want to leave it neutral. And that's it, this model is done. I have to say this was like a really quick and very easy model to paint, just a few contrast paints here and there, little highlights, and that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so this channel can grow and more people can have access to these videos. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below and I will try to do my best. So this is it for now. Stay safe, take care, and see you soon. Bye!